Hello everybody, welcome to St. Olaves Homework Booklet number 9 walkthrough. We're starting off the NVR section and we have to, without rotating the figure on the left, work out which option fits into these shapes over here in order to make it like the same shape in the grey box. So for question number 1, we have to see that we need some blocks over here, we need one here, and then we need some on the side to like this and then like that to fill up that whole full base at the bottom, which means you need a block at the front, 2 at the side. The only one that looks like that is A. If you did any of these ones, this block at the top would clash with this one and it would not fit. For the next question, if we turn this around, because it says without rotating the figure on the left, work out which one we can slot in. We're not rotating this figure. However, when we put this into there, we flip it around and this box goes to the front over here. It fills in that space, and then we've got that base at the bottom with the 2 squares. Then we have something that looks a bit like this shape. We have 3 in a row, 1, 2, 3, and then the full base on the side. Therefore, the answer is B. Next question, I'm just going to scroll up to C. We have not enough in the top of the shape. We need to have these ones at the back. We've got the front 2, we need the ones at the back, so we're going to have to cross these out. And then we know we have to have something slot in to make it 2 by 3. So we need to put in the extra 3 at the back here, and you'll end up with this, and then that extra one is going to come to the front, and then we've got 2 by 3, and then this will slot in just behind there. This 3 will match this 3. Therefore, the only solution is B. Question 4, we have the same thing. We need to fill out this base to get the 2 by 2. So we're already getting rid of C. And then this, when we put A inside, we have this block that's going to fill up this middle space, and then these 2 blocks are going to fit into right over here. So we fill the middle block, top 2, and we build up the base to have 3 by 2. Therefore, the answer would be A. For question 6, we're doing some hole punching, and when you fold it in half and then again, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. Something that looks like B. For question 7, we have only dots on this side. When you put it out, it's going to fold back out here, back to here, and then back over there. We've got nothing on this side of the page because we didn't hole punch there. It would have had to have gone up like that. So the only one that has dots on that side of the page where it looks like this is D. So for this one, we're sort of going to work backwards. If we fold this bit back up, we're going to have another dot there. And when we fold this bit back up, this dot that was over here is now going to fold out to go over here. So we get something that looks a little bit like a dot here, and then once this dot comes out over here. Which one does that look like? That looks like A. You will notice for the question number 9, when that dot is over here, you'll notice that it's not in this region which didn't get folded over. Or it's in this region which doesn't get folded over twice. So it's not like we'd have a dot here and there. We're in this space that doesn't get folded over twice. So when we open this out, let's work backwards. We're just going to simply fold it out, and we know that there's nothing crossing over here to create any double holes. So we simply get something that's been folded out, and it's just going to be 2 holes over here. Therefore, that gives us D as an answer. We fold this out, we're going to have a dot over here for sure. And then once we have these 2 dots, once they're put out over here, that means this dot is also going to fold out to go over there. Once you have this, something that looks like that, and I always find this to be very helpful, to actually, that's a bit high up, to work backwards and try and put them down. It's going to be down here, but remember we've hole punched here, and that one's going to come out. And then when this goes folded back up, that means it's going to travel to over here as well. And which is the one that looks like that? That is going to be A. Let's start off with the verbal reasoning. We've got a simple question to start off with. We're counting ascending number of syllables. We're going to do collaborating. I'm going to do a mark for each syllable. Collaborating. Then we have Americans. Let's do it up here just because the highlight is thick. Americans will succeed. So we have ascending means from smallest to largest. We need to start with will as it's only got one syllable. We can cross out those. Succeed, both of them have succeed. So we need to go to the next question. Americans has 4 syllables compared to collaborating, which has 5. Therefore, it has to be B. Will succeed Americans, ending off with collaborating. For question number 2, which statement is true? We're focusing on homophones. Homophones mean sounding the same. So let's read them out. Meet, met, mean, meet, met, mean. None of them sound the same. Therefore, none of the pairs could be homophones. Question number 3, how many 3-letter words can be made using these letters? Now, I can definitely see mat straight off the bat, and that is 1 already. Then we have the word tam. If you look it up, that is in fact a word. So how many do we have? We have 2. Question number 4, what words can we make out of lamp? I can see lamp, that's there for us, and I can also see palm. We can start off with the P. Therefore, we can only have 2 letters out of that word. Let's see if we can add a single letter so that when they're rearranged, they can make 2 4-letter words. So if I can see, you can't really add R to fit to make a word. N doesn't really work. With Y, you'd need a double consonant to make either fatty or something like that. But the only thing that would work is A. You can make fats and you can also make fits. He had lots of fits, or avocados have lots of good fats. So it'd be A. Next question, we're finding a 5-letter hidden word in this sentence. And if you look over here, we have the word haste. Therefore, the first letter is H. We have solution A. What 3-letter word can we use to complete this word in capital letters? We have she grew a plant. That's something you can grow. And do we have a 3-letter word? Yes, we do. The first letter is A, therefore the solution is D. We're starting off with the comprehension section, and it's called I'll Do It Tomorrow, and it's essentially a text about procrastination. It's giving you tips. It starts off with a little anecdote where you're making a science project and you're putting it off even though you had 3 weeks to do it. And over the course, we learn what is it, why did we do it, and eventually what can you do to stop it. So question number 1, what can be inferred about the author's perspective on instant gratification? So the whole text, if we're focusing on C, talks about how instant gratification is not a good choice and has negative consequences. He notes the difference between eating a bag of chips and eating a healthy sandwich. We are getting evidence from the text, and it says instant gratification occurs when you get to enjoy something right away. However, it might be immediately rewarding, but it's not always the best choice. And that's when he details the rest of his having a bag of crisps over a delicious healthy sandwich. So in the same way, we are saying that the author in solution A, he believes that not that one. That one is definitely not correct. He said it's not always the best consequences. But this one, it can be tempting, but it will have its negative consequences. So we have a solution B for question number 1. Question number 2, what might be a potential drawback of using blocking software to avoid distractions at work? It says over here, download a software that will temporarily block websites that distract you. He says it's one way to stop procrastination. So he doesn't really say anything about the effect on the computer. You can get rid of that. The only ones we can say for sure is that we know in the text they said temporarily block, so it's not that one. And it doesn't mention anything about regular updates and maintenance. Therefore, by elimination, we can say that the software may not be effective in preventing all distractions. For example, he talks about the phone being distracting, or that it can't really get rid of televisions either. Therefore, yes, you can download the software, but it won't be effective in blocking all of the distractions. Question 3, based on the passage, what's a potential reason why people procrastinate even when they know it's a bad habit? For question 3, we can say that the most plausible answer is that it's not that always that people enjoy working under the pressure and the challenge of procrastination, because sometimes it's not as good results as if you spent more time on it, and people underestimate the negative consequences of procrastination. I think it's not the text has a general sense of people don't really truly understand how bad it is. So they have difficulty understanding the concept of delayed gratification and its benefits. You can't really say that people don't understand the negative consequences of procrastination and prioritize immediate enjoyment, because it says here that procrastination can cause feelings of stress, anxiety, and feelings of guilt, and therefore if they are feeling those emotions in the first place, a lot of people feel the stress in procrastinating and they use it to help them work under pressure. Therefore, sometimes they are aware of the negative impact, and it's more of the case that they just don't have this understanding of delayed gratification and its benefits. Next question, why does the author talk about the difference of a bag of chips and making a sandwich? Going back to the text, it says that choosing the sandwich would be an example of delayed gratification because you have to do work and wait a few minutes before you get to eat. Therefore, the point of using this bag of chips compared to a sandwich means that he's trying to illustrate the concept of instant gratification and its impact, and the impact it has on its decision making, because it's giving the sandwich as an example of delayed gratification. Therefore, it's C. Next question, based on the passage, what can be inferred about the author's view on procrastination as a habit? So overall, the author has quite a negative view of procrastination, because given from this paragraph, it says that it's loads of negative feelings such as stress, guilt, anxiety, you don't get your work done. If you do it with food, then you won't have good meals. Therefore, the best answer would be that he says it's not inevitable because you can overcome it, and the passage is much more grave than it's just a minor issue. And it's definitely not positive. We can see that along the course of the paragraph, so the answer has to be C. Next question, what is the main reason why should you break down a large project into smaller tasks? So you should break the project down so it has smaller tasks. Therefore, it can make the project feel less overwhelming and more manageable. So it would be solution D. What can be inferred about the author's purpose in discussing the consequences of procrastination? So in the same way, it talks about the consequences of procrastination over here, where it's a lot of negative feelings and that you basically won't get your work done. Now, be careful with solution B. It's saying to dissuade readers from attempting to overcome procrastination. This author is trying to persuade the readers to try to overcome procrastination. And he definitely says, it's similar to the other question, he's not saying it as it's inevitable human nature to procrastinate. He does not say it's a normal aspect of life. We need to attempt to overcome this. Therefore, it's for solution D, it's much more serious, he's saying. as he can say that these negative feelings have quite detrimental consequences. Therefore, solution C would be the best answer, that he's just trying to warn them about the potential harmful consequences of procrastination. So why does he use the phrase 95% of people have procrastinated at least once? So he is using this statement. It says that it's not highlighting the need for further research because he's already mentioning that there's quite a high statistic found. And the volume of this statistic shows that it's not a recently discovered phenomenon. The only one that makes sense is to, yes, he does say that it's not, he doesn't say that it's inevitable. It is very common. He's supporting the argument that procrastination is common, but that doesn't mean that we should embrace it as a part of human life. He's saying, yes, it is common, but there are multiple ways to make sure that you can reduce the amount you do it. Next question, what can be inferred about the intended audience for this passage? So as the whole passage is about procrastination, I guess to some extent you could put all of these, but in a more broad sense, I'd say the one we can definitely cross out is research studying human behavior and decision making, because it's not a very scientific piece, it's quite an opinion piece, and therefore it can appertain to anyone, just anyone who might be struggling with chronic procrastination, because the passage talks about all sorts of people, not just students, not just parents, but anyone. Next question, what is the author's tone when he's discussing the negative consequences of procrastination? So we see that throughout the text and discussed in the previous questions, it's not very casual and lighthearted. He's not making a humorous depiction of the text. He is warning. When you are warning, you are concerned and cautionary. So we are doing the math section, doing shapes, and the first question is how many squares altogether. Now straight away we can see that it's made up of smaller squares. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 right there. Now, if we have 15 right there, we can also see some bigger ones, which I'm going to do in this black color. We have 1, we have 2, we have 3 in this row. We have 3. We also have the same thing in the second row. We have another 3, so I'm just gonna do that in a different color. We have 1, we have 2, we have 3 again. So let's just note that down, plus 3, plus 3. And then we also have 2 by 2s, which is 1, and then 2. We have 2 in this row. So we have another 2. Now I just erased that so you can see the next 3 by 3. We have 1 3 by 3 over here, and then we have 1 3 by 3 over here. That's 2 already. And then we also have a 3 by 3 over here. And then that is 3 3 by 3s. So that is the highest number of squares we can make, and we fully get 26 when you add all these numbers together, 26 squares. So for this one, we can see that we can either do how many bits in total. We can see over here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So in each one we have 4. 4 times 4 is 16 bits in total. And each time we have 2, 4, 6, 8. So if we have 8 over 16, that means in a simplified fraction that will be 1/2. So for 2b, we can split this up in this way if you need to, and then when we get all together we get 8 parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 2 out of 8 in the simplest fraction will give you 1/4. For 3, when we add up all of the planks of wood that are 14 centimeters, we get 14, 14, 14, 14, which means the total area of the wood, and let's write that down here, total wood, so that's not the spaces, that's the total wood, is equal to 14 times 4. This is equal to 56. There we go. And if that's equal to 56, we need to leave equal width between them. So how many gaps are there? There's 1, 2, 3 gaps. And the space left over, we fully want to make the table 65. So to find the space left over, we have to do 65 minus 56, which is equal to 9. However, how many spaces do we have left? 1, 2, 3. We have to do 9 divided by 3 to get 3 centimeter spaces. So number 4, we have to figure out what fraction of the rectangle is made. So these are identical, but they're split up in different ways. And we know there are 4 equal parts here, but 5 equal parts there. So it has to be something over 4, something over 5. But total parts is equal to 2, because we can see that this rectangle is made up of this part and is also made up of this part. And let's just do that in a different color so you can see this one and then the other one. But if we have to find out how much in total, we have to do part 1. Let's call this part 1. This is part 1 and this is part 2. So part 1 means that this is 1/4 shaded, and hopefully you can see that, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 part is shaded. And then part 2 is 1, 2 out of 5 parts shaded, 2 out of 5. To find out in total how much we have to do 1/4 plus 2/5. So I'm just going to scroll over here so you can see. I'm going to do 1/4 plus 2/5. We have to do that over, what's the common denominator? We have to make that over 20. So this becomes 5, because 4 times 5 gives us 20, and then this becomes 8, because 5 times 4 is 20, 2 times 4 is 8. So then we get 13 over 20. If we have 13 over 20, however, let's make sure you can see this over here. We have double the area. We found 13 over 20. We added this fraction to the square. However, we have double the area, 2 squares. So we need to divide this fraction by 2. We need to do 13 over 20 divided by 2, which should give us 13 over 40 as our answer. If for Aiden they all occupy the same angle, we can see that it's occupying the same, it's split into 3, so these are all equal parts. Barry has to be the tiebreaker, so this one has to be 20 and they're all the same. However, purple is the only one that has the most proportion over here. It's going to be 20 because it's half of the entire pie chart. And if it's equal plus the highest proportion, then the most popular color will be purple. And let's just scroll so you can see purple. So for 6, we need to find out the total number of hours. This is 2. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 1. This is 2. This is 2. And then Sunday is 3. We need to figure out what is going to be Thursday so that it gives us a total of 17 hours. So 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. 9 plus 2 is 11, and 11 plus 3 is 14. So to find out what's left, we have to do 17 minus 14, which is equal to 3 hours. But we are not finished. We need to write this in the bar chart. We're going to find our 3 line, and we're going to put it in like this. Give it a quick shade in if you want to, and that should be it. So for 7, we are going to find 4 gallons, which is over here, and we are going to draw a line down to 4, and we can see that it almost touches, and I'm going to zoom in a lot to show you the boxes on the graph, and it's asking how many gallons are equal to liters. So if you look on your own paper, you can see that this occupies a tiny little box over here. For these midpoints, I always find the midpoints. We know that this midpoint is going to be 17.5 between 20 and 15, and each mini box is equal to 0.5. So if this one's 17.5, we have a mini box which is equal to 17.5 plus that small 0.5, which is equal to 18 litres over here. For the next one, we're going to see where 1.8 gallons falls. These mini boxes, this is 1.5, and we see that one of these mini boxes is 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, 1.9, 2. So that is about at this third line. I'm going to follow this third line and it hits right over here. So it's the same thing. If this is 7.5, then this mini box adds 0.5. You can see that it's come here. And then the answer will be 8 litres. For the next one, let's find 10 litres, and it's going to hit the line just here at this second mini box. We know each one is equal to 0.1, so it has to be 2, 2.1, 2.2. So we get 2.2 gallons. We know that for question 4, Sarah has, this is 1/3, and 12 is equal to 1/3. If 12 is equal to 1/3, we just have to multiply it by 3 to get how many counters in total. 12 times 3 is 36. So if we know she has 36 in total and 12 are taken up, that means we have 24 left. But we have twice as many green counters as blue counters. So if we call blue X, we can call green counters 2X. We have 2X plus X is equal to 24. That gives us 3X is equal to make sure you can see that, 3X is equal to 24, which means X is equal to 8. To figure out how many families have just one child for question number 9, we're going to go to number 1, this is number of children, and we're going to go to number of families, and we can see that it reaches at 7. So that will be 7 for question 1. And which number of children in the family occurs most often? We have to see which one has the highest frequency of families. We can see that the highest bar is 2 children, therefore the children that occurs the most is 2. And how many families have 5 children? We can see that there is no bar, therefore it is 0. And how many families were in the survey? We need to count them. So this is 7, this is 9, this is 8, this is 4, we have 0, and then we have 1. So when we add them all together, we get 7 plus 9 is 16, 16 plus 8 is 24, 24 plus 4 is 28, and 28 plus 1 is 29 families in total. And if we want to know how many what fraction of the families had 4 in total, we know 4 families had 4 children, so we're just going to do 4 over 29. This can't be simplified anymore, so that's the answer. So K is this black line, question 10. We need to know when was she in the lead, and they've even marked it for us, is that she's in the lead when she's got a higher distance. When did she have a higher distance than Maria? The dotted line is between 2 and 5. So to find out how many minutes she was in the lead, we just do 5 minus 2, which gives us 3. So they were actually level 2 points during this race. They had, at 600, they were the same distance, 600, and we can also see 1,200, they were level as well. Who won the race? We can see that Maria completed the distance. She got to 1,500 faster than Kay. She reached it in a shorter time, therefore Maria won the race. And that's the math section.